from where I see it now. So it's important to do that. And to your point, Miki, of partnering with organizations, I think it's key. However, those organizations need to be Latino ready. So when you, again, want to apply some of the principles of what you do in a mentality that, oh, well, I know it, I've done it, this is my expertise, so, this is what we're gonna do, doesn't work. Do you know about the community? Do you know who we are? Are you connected to our community? Because if not, it's not going to succeed.
I just want to acknowledge that Jordan had a comment in the chat about sales and sales ops jobs. And that's not a surprise to Marcia, because I mentioned that to her in our pre-interview, Jordan, because in my opinion, I've been here 7 years. I've never seen the sales department to even have a Latino on staff. So I think that's an incredible opportunity. Anything else you want to say about amplify your comment, Jordan?
Not other than we're definitely looking for salespeople and sales operations people. And so I guess the one question I would have is, can you give an example of a company that is Latino ready that we could sort of emulate?
I don't have a company that I could say is what I would consider Latino ready, because I don't think that this work is a destination. I think this work is a journey. So from that perspective, in a way, I say Latino ready, but as soon as we're ready, something else is going to come up, right? So we're going to have to evolve. I think that are some companies that have been more intentional around some areas of their development or their goals that have done a good job. I don't like to talk about specific companies because I don't, without their permission, I don't want to share things that might be proprietary or whatnot. But I think that, a big national organization called the Hispanic Star is very aligned to my mission, and that's why I partner with them, and I am part of their ambassadors for this region. They are developing some tools, right, that talk about becoming Latino ready. In other words, right, with another structure, but it's the idea that nationwide, we are not ready to truly understand who we are. And that also starts with us Latinos too. I think there's also miscommunication or lack of awareness around who we are and how much we contribute to this country. So, I'm not sure if I'm answering your question per se, but I wouldn't be able to tell you, yes, there's this amazing company that is doing some of this work. If you want to learn more, I would recommend you guys to look at ASER, Hispanic Association on Corporate Responsibility. They have what they call a Corporate Inclusion Index, which really looks at how inclusive are companies for Latino talent. And they just released their results with companies, and they rate them at 5 stars, 5, 4, 3, and 2. And they have, the companies that are rated highly. You can start seeing some trends there around who gets, 5 stars in the 4 pillars that they have, who gets stars in a certain pillar, and you can, start digging a little deeper into understanding what are some of the things that they are doing as they become best practice.
I think we have time for 1 or 2 more questions, but before we do, I just want to actually correct myself, because I got a ping that said that we actually do have 1 Latino on staff in sales. So anyway, I stand corrected. Any other questions?
So, Marcia, thank you for being here, and it's an honor to be a part of your list. I was just wondering, because you did say that you are a journalist, and obviously you're Latina. What is your opinion on news coverage within the Latino community? What is your perspective on that?
Sure, thank you for that. Let me just have some water. I have been speaking a lot over the past few weeks. I think that's, in a way, unconsciously maybe, what made me create the list and do a lot of the work that I do, right? Because I think that there is a misperception and an underrepresentation of who we are. that is embedded in our culture, in the US culture, maybe in every culture in the world, but I'm more towards the US culture, about, you know, how we see Latinos and who they are, how they are represented in media, in movies, in news. And it's very biased and it's very stereotyped. And it's very unidimensional. There tends to be, again, because of the lack of awareness and education and understanding around our complexities, they tend to assume and give judgments about things that are either not true or they don't have a good sense about what it is. I want to give an example about last year elections. And I remember the coverage around how stunned was people to see and hear that some Latinos were voting for Trump, and how they started making assumptions about that. And I remember one of the members of the list, Jerry, was in the news and said, well, you're stunned because you don't know about our community and you don't know who we are. And when you don't understand our history and where we come from, you're just going to start making assumptions and stereotyping us. The reality is Latinos come from so many different countries, from so many political and economic backgrounds and stories, that, yeah, a big percentage of Latinos are very conservative and they would vote for Trump. And again, without you knowing more about the community being involved as a news organization or as any company, right, you're going to have a very biased and, as I said, unidimensional view. So I want to change that. And to do that, I need to blast social media with other things. And again, that's why I deal with the Latinos, because again, when in your mind you want to, a reporter wants to talk about immigration in, the South border, why would you go and talk to someone that is an immigrant from Asia? Go and talk to someone that is an immigrant from Mexico, right? But if you don't know anybody in your network, or if you don't have a source for that, how are you going to do that? Right? So you're going to rely on who you know. And if your network is so, the same of you, mini yous in a way, you're not going to have that. So I want to, kind of increase the awareness of, oh, well, we have a resource now, right? So when you do have to interview a lawyer around immigration, go to a colonial lawyer that has an immigration practice. Right? And I do that every time somebody calls me. Like, I need to talk, go and look at the list. If you need more specifics, let me know and I can connect you. I don't want the excuse to be anymore that we can't find them. And that goes to media, because again, we tend to rely on our sources and our sources look exactly like us. We all do that. That's human nature. I do that. 99% of my friends are Latinos. Of course, I have to diversify my universe as well. I don't know if that helped, Roslyn.
Yeah, that helps. It makes me think that maybe somebody should look at the 100 plus Latino list closely and see if there's anybody we can add to our expert list.
Exactly.
I was just thinking about that. We have a Google document where we've tried to put as many diverse experts as possible. To your point, so we're not still going to the white male cardiologist every time there's a story. But that list could be much deeper. And and I think one way to start that is to go through your past 2 years and see who's who and what they do and make sure we weave them into the document. So.
Correct. Yep.
We can do that. Other questions? I had a thought. Any other questions before I interrupt?
I would like to know the Latino on the sales department so I can meet them and say hello.
Okay, we can talk offline. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm just.
All right. So Marcia, I was just thinking LinkedIn seems to be kind of your prime social media platform. Is that right? Is that something, there comes a point toward the end of these lunch and learns where we talk about how we can all support you. Is there a link we can follow? And is that kind of the main way that you disseminate information about the list?
Yeah, so let me just give me 1 second here because I do have all of this in links that I can share with you in the chat and also afterwards, of course. But yes, there are, why am I not finding this? Most of what I do is share via LinkedIn as the professional network. Because I work for, with Latinos, and a lot of my entry point for the companies is via HR. This is my LinkedIn. I also have, so my website has all the information. I try to keep it up to, speed, but you can also sign up for my newsletters, and there are monthly newsletters with everything and anything that is either happening in the community as it relates to, Latino talent, things that are nationwide, some of my programming and things like that. And I highlight the Latinos. Next year, I finished the CLE Live interviews about 3 weeks ago before Hispanic Heritage Month started, because I was a little too much, but I will go back into CLE Live, which is Conversando con Latinos en Vivo. It's a conversation with 100+ Latinos that I do live every Friday via LinkedIn for 20 minutes. And again, that shares the stories that they, of the 100+ Latinos. So I have that as well. But yeah, LinkedIn and my website, I would say, are the best ways to connect and be informed of what I do. And then how to help me is hiring me and telling others that they need to, hire. I mean, they need to hire people, right? They need to professionalize some of the things that they want to do. Some of it could be done with, things that are unpaid, but if you are committed to this work, you need to put the money where your mouth is and commit to something longer term as a company, in all the companies, right? All.
Okay, WKYC monitors, we need you to mute. All right, well, that means that we need to wind it up. So let me just say that the numbers don't lie, Marcia, and I thank you for just bringing those numbers to our attention. They really do speak to why attention is needed and your message is needed. So thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much, appreciate it. Have a good weekend. I'm ready for the weekend, so I am sure you are too.
Okay.
Good job, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
I don't know if you need to stay or if I can just.
You may go resume your weekend. We really appreciate you. That was fantastic.
Wonderful. Thank you, Margaret. We'll be in touch.
We'll be in touch next week. I'll set everything up next week. And you laid the groundwork for it perfectly. So thank you.
Oh, wonderful. I'm glad. Yes. Thank you so much. Have a good weekend.
You too. Okay.
Bye.